Well, yeah, he didn't have his A-plus stuff. You could tell. Mike said he didn't warm up very good in the bullpen. And then early in the game, you see he was off. But, he found a way to go 6 innings, which is big. We were flirting with sending him out in the 7th, but that was enough, especially after the fact that he had 120 pitches his last start going for the no-hitter and then the shutout, and then eventually lost it. So I figured that was enough for him. I told him, hey, man, we don't want to hurt you. And he goes, he's not worried about that, but he just didn't have much in the tank tonight. And so our offense came through. We still, wasn't indicative of what the score could have been because we had bases loaded, I think, in the 5th and the 6th, and didn't get any base run, anybody home with that. But, it was a good one for us to win. And our bullpen did an outstanding job those last 3 innings for Max and us.
You guys this year offensively have done so much with power. To be able to do it with contact and speed tonight, it's nice to know that you have that ability.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have that, especially when you have, a guy that you can run on the mound, and Montero isn't throwing like he was before earlier, and so you got to take advantage of every situation that you can, and also you got to have different games. Sometimes you got to win with speed and contact, and other times you win with power. So it's nice to know, like you said, that you can call upon both of those games, whenever you need them.
We talk a lot about Turner stealing bases, obviously.
Yes.
What kind of jumps have you seen Michael Taylor get? How do you think he's done out there?
Well, Michael's done great, and he's a little bit hamstrung because he's batting in 8th position in front of the pitcher. So he picks his spots well. Davey helps him pick his spots well, and that was big tonight. Him stealing in a bunt situation and getting in the scoring position. Max helped himself out with a couple, key knocks, and everybody contributed, and you see we got a lot of hits as well.
They do have the pitcher hitting between them, which, as you said, kind of complicates things or makes it a little tougher. But when you have that type of speed in the 8 hole and then that type of speed at the top of the lineup, what type of weapon can that be with the 2 of them?
Well, it can be a great weapon when you don't necessarily have to sacrifice bunt all the time, with the pitcher batting 9th and Michael in the 8th spot. And then after that, if they're both on the bases, then you got speed, all the way around. And Michael's done a great job in that 8th spot since he's been there. That's a valuable spot. He's driven in a lot of key runs. When you do sacrifice bunt, it doesn't have to be a perfect bunt, but if he had a much slower person, then it changed the whole dynamics of the bunt situation. And so, speed, I love speed, and so, and when you have it, then, you got to use it.
And Trey's up to 19 steals this month. What's it been like watching him really kind of kick it into gear?
Well, he had that hamstring earlier, when he couldn't, when the weather was cool, and he couldn't run. And now the weather's warm, he feels better, and, just run, Trey, run. I enjoy watching him run. He creates, you got to watch him and try to get the hitter at the same time. And, picks his spots most of the time, when to run. So, like I said, Davey Lopes was really, helped him pick his spots and when and times and moves and jumps. And, Davey's invaluable over there at that, especially in Trey's young career.
Fair to say you're kind of regaining comfort using Blake in bigger spots after kind of pitching?
Well, yeah. Like I said, it starts with one, and then you build from there. And Blake has the stuff. It's just a matter he's find the strike zone. When he loses it now, he can come back and find the strike zone. And you're throwing 97, 98, and a sinker and a good slider, and throws mostly ground balls. And he was going through a rough stretch there where a lot of those ground balls were finding holes. And so it was good to bring, Blake back to back. Annie did a great job, and everybody in the bullpen, did their jobs tonight.
What does it say about Max where he is right now that he doesn't have to say stuff and he holds that lineup like that?
Well, that's what great pitchers do. You find a way. If you have your good control that night, or if you have a good slider or a good changeup, and then you find out what's working, and then use that. And if you have all of them, then Max has no hit stuff. And so first you got to find out, what's working early in the ball game. Get through that tough time early in the game, and then later on, a lot of times you end up finding your slider, or you find your changeup, or you find your control. But you got to get to those first few innings in order to find it. And that's what Max is one of the best at. Okay.
A lot of pitchers get big deals and they disappoint after getting those big contracts. What is it about Max, do you think, generally, that not only can he reach those expectations, but kind of exceed them?
Well, I mean, number one, the contract has nothing to do with his pride of being a winner and trying to win, and trying to beat you. I mean, the contract only comes into play on the 1st and 15th, and in between then, you got to play ball. You got to pitch. You know what I mean? So, these guys spent most of their lives playing for free, and when you get the big contract like that, you have to train hard, try not to put too much pressure on yourself, and then you actually, revert back to amateur status when you were playing for free. And, this is the kind of pride that you gotta take when when you take the mound or take the field.